Hi everyone. I don't know if you know what these are, other than trees obviously, but they are called community orchards. And so I thought I'd come and visit one because I'm going to take some apples. If you look on the search engine, you'll see a lot of these available to people. Just type in community orchards, you'll find some. Look at this. Oh, wow, this is what I came for. You'll see a whole load of them, and you can pick some bits and pieces from the trees to put into jams or, can for winter time. Especially useful during the inflation, so I just thought I'd mention it. 1 second, I'll just get the bag which I'm going to put these in. There we go. Yeah, and then take my puppy for a walk. Isn't that right? Yeah. He's going to behave. He thinks I've got food for him. So there's a lot of stuff going on at the moment, and I thought I'd just sort of step back rather than make any comment about what's going on and see what's going on from different angles. I'm also noticing that there's a lot of people within social media who are questioning the reality of the grooming gang stuff, which would then also mean that they're questioning whether there's actually rapes by illegal immigrants and all those sorts of things. So this is all a little bit worrying for me, seeing what's going on. And I've got to say, when these sorts of things happen, I become very, very stressed with what I'm observing. So I do tend to sort of step away from it all because of my stress, which I sort of endure. I am seeing also that the police are very, very politically correct in their policing, which means that victims of what I call politically correct crimes, like I'm a victim of, will fear turning to them. So I have decided that I'm going to write to them about that, and at the end of this video I'll go over what I have written, because it's on my phone and I'm holding this thing instead. So it does seem strange the way that these things all happen at once. It does seem choreographed. Whether it is or not, I don't know, because I'm not in any room trying to do this sort of choreographing. But that's how it feels. It feels that these young girls have been stabbed to death, and suddenly that's out of the picture and it's all about the far right, which is always how the media plays this. Where are you? Herbie! Come here! Come on, sit! Sit! No, don't snort, sit! Come on. Hey, sit. That's it. No, longer. Put effort into it, boy. That's it, wait. Oi! Wait. Good boy. There you go. There you go. Click for you. I'm clicker training him and it works. A treat. well, using clicker and treats. So I think that will do for getting the damsons here. Yeah, so what the issue was, and what seems to happen, is Tommy Robinson will go, see, it's Muslims, and then it's not a Muslim. This is about political correctness from my perspective. This is about how political correctness is allowing certain crimes against the native population committed by what they call victims or victim groups. And so because these victim groups are claimed victims, then it just becomes very difficult for police to do their jobs, I guess. And it also becomes very difficult for victims to turn to the police. I should know, I've been in this situation. Oh, that's a bad one. And it's they've become unreliable from my perspective. If a crime was committed against me, I would have a real issue with calling the police. Unless it was white perpetrators, of course. And we do still have white perpetrators, and we have other perpetrators as well. Look at these plums. What? Come here. Come on. Come here. It's your lead. It's got to pull. Yes, I know. Whew. Whew. Here it is. It's because you're going through all these trees, sweetheart. Not to worry. You're meant to be my guard dog, sweetheart. Crying like that, eh? I don't know what I was saying then. I suppose I was talking about the victims. I would never turn to... I would have a great difficulty in turning to the police. And that's just because I would fear them saying that it's a hate crime. That's always been my fear. That's why I took so long to report the crime. So I'm writing a letter to them about that, because I think that they're policing in such a poor manner through political correctness. It's not just them. I've seen them. I've seen the NHS doing exactly the same. They are becoming very political, which from my perspective and my angle makes them very unreliable. So I've started to look for alternative ways of dealing with sickness, mainly through natural remedies. So I've got enough here. I'll show you what I make on another video. I'll do it while I have a chat with you. So we'll have another chat in a minute while I'm taking him for a walk. So at the moment I've been doing a claim for someone for disability discrimination. So I've been focusing on that, and it's doing it's a good case. It's a very strong case. And I have realised in my own experiences that a lot of the way in which the public sector is working is about discrimination and avoiding discrimination, but in fact what they do is encourage disability discrimination, because disability is a really complex and complicated issue. It comes with disabilities which are seen, but also disabilities which are invisible. And also there was a case not long ago which stated that the person with the disability does not have to seek help from the NHS or even have it diagnosed by the NHS. And that's just because they might be fearful of the NHS. And of course, with the NHS being so focused on, you know, anti-racism, they've made claims that if you ask for a white doctor, then that means that you are a racist. However, they're bringing over immigrant doctors and training them that white people are racists, and that then, you know, why would people want to receive help from a healthcare which is training their doctors that they are racist, they are bad people? Why would anyone receive healthcare from them? You know, you'd be at a possible scenario where they could possibly be out to kill you because of their understanding of who you are and what you are. So, disability discrimination cases, I think, are going to become massive in the future. And that's just because I think that people do need to, people are going to become afraid of asking for the most simplest things. With this case that I'm doing at the moment, she was explaining to me how upset she is because she is worried that, you know how they have these signs on everything and they say, oh, you do not abuse our staff or we will not help you. Well, or we will refuse to help you. Well, she is really worried about that. And I explained to her that that's gaslighting, because this is, once again, an interpretation of the word abuse. Now, if they've made an error, which is so significant that it becomes an issue for a person and their finances, especially when the finances are, when we're in inflation. So the finances are of utmost importance, right? The finances will have an effect on the family unit and everything at home. So it's really important that these companies work well and properly in order to ensure good business and working. And so I said to her that these signs could be considered gaslighting, which is further inducing mental health issues, because people will become afraid of making complaints and feeling upset because of errors and negligence by these public sectors and companies. And that might be because they're afraid that there'll be consequences. This woman's on benefits, so she may fear that she'll lose out on benefits and things like that. So I think disability, if words are such a big case, which they appear to be in our system today, then they will be a big case for disabled people in the future. The only issue that I'm finding is that human rights lawyers will not take up politically incorrect cases, and that would include disabled people's cases. So I'm helping them write their letters. I'm helping them, or I'm showing them how to gather evidence, what to do. And then I've said to them, you'll have to fight your own case, but it's all right because we'll put in human rights unfair trial, because these public sectors, they'll have their, KCs, King's Counsel, their lawyers, etc. And there was a McDonald's case where unfair trial came about. So we'll just write in the letter, do not try to, be aware that this is an unfair trial. This person has mental health disabilities. They are self-representing because they feel that they can't approach anybody in the public sector or the legal sector at the moment. You've become focused on words. It's accentuating mental health illness, all of that kind of stuff. So I think that this is going to be the future of look at that, of cases. And what I'm also noticing in the alternative media is that they are saying, well, we shouldn't be, you're turning into a victim mentality, you shouldn't do. And I've seen that with Owen Benjamin, who has also stated that he doesn't believe the grooming gangs. I've noticed that with Gemma O'Doherty as well. She's stated something similar. So it seems to me that you're actually getting a whole load of alt media turning against the victims, whereby they are victims of Muslims. And I was looking at Gareth Icke. He was talking about his sister and her young death, and that's so sad and everything. And he was saying, I'm going to be doing a charity thing, but he didn't write anything about the charity. And I thought, that's odd. You'd think that they would add the charity, but he hasn't. And so I looked into his past charities, which are Palestine, which is fine and everything. It's just that I'm noticing that a lot of the people who are, come here, I just want to let you in, but I also want to hold your thing. Go on, have a look. yeah, he's donated to Palestine. There's a lot of people who are pro-Palestine and have been for years apparently. So that to me is a little bit strange, because it seems like there's been this long-standing battle of Palestine versus Israel, but they've also dragged that into the kind of conspiracy theory realm as well. I noticed how they didn't talk about the grooming gangs. They were really finding it difficult to talk about the grooming gangs. David Icke, he did eventually mention it briefly, but I'm just feeling a little bit concerned. Oh, don't drink it. I've got fresh water for you. He always drinks the most yuckiest water going. I don't think it's going to go in. You don't want to, do you? Shall we go elsewhere then? Come on. Don't you bounce on me. Because I'm wearing white. So yeah, there seems to be within the conspiracy theory realm this whole Palestine versus Israel issue. And I'm not for either, if I'm honest with you. I don't follow all of that stuff, and I don't want to get involved in it. I know very little about it. And so it's just, I think that's probably one of the reasons why they avoid talking about the Muslim grooming gangs and the rapes by the illegal immigrants. Because if they are pro-Palestine, does that mean that they are pro-Muslim? I have seen that higher professionals within the kind of like the policing, but also the army and our security really, they are white men who are Muslims. And I find that very interesting and worrying, because why are so many people pro-Muslim and I'm not saying that they should hate Muslims, by the way, when I say this, but they should be at least talking about the negative effects of having Muslims here, which they are not doing. So I am very dubious of all of the alternative media. I went to the media, I went to the alternative media, no one would talk to me. I know other people who have been in the same situation. They've gone to the media and gone to the alternative media with their issues, and these are people who are, mixed race. No, they won't discuss the matter with them, and it's not clear why. So something's going on. It's obviously propaganda on both sides. I mean, mainstream media and alternative media. There's clearly propaganda on both sides, and they do let you know that they have taken a side. They say that they are against the authorities or whatever. But you know, when they're taking a side like that, like they are taking these sides rather than the people's sides, which is what they claim, then they do become questionable again, their behaviours and everything, and what they're saying. I do feel as well that there is an attempt to deter people from going through the courts, like myself. And that is another reason why they don't talk to people like me, because they don't want people taking their issues through the courts and setting precedent, because that can then affect how things go in the future with regards to the legal system. And if they can try to prevent certain cases going through the legal system, then they have a bit more control over case law and common law, don't they? So I'm wondering if that's the thing as well. Right, I'm going to just pick up this. Come here. That's it. I've just seen a bird and I don't want you chasing after them, okay? In the pond. And since you're not keen on the water, then I'll have to hold you back, because you're a bit dumb, sweetheart, at times. You act, then think. Do you want to try the water? Go on, have a try. Have a little paddle, sweetheart. See if you like it. No, he doesn't want to. Okay. That's okay, sweetheart. In your own time, darling. We'll get you a paddling pool. Oh, you like that idea? Good. Ease you into it, yeah? He chased after this dog because he gets really excited when he sees other dogs, and he was chasing after this dog, and the other dog loved water and just jumped right into the river, and he followed, jumping, but didn't realise that there was water underneath him. You started choking, didn't you, sweetie? So yeah, I'm thinking that maybe there is this kind of attempt to deter people from going through the legal system, to change the law back into a more humane style of legal system, rather than it becoming an ideological one. And I saw Owen Benjamin, is that his name, or Benjamin Owen, saying that, you know, people are becoming, in the alternative media kind of thing, are becoming victims. Well, that's what our legal system is based upon, victimhood, and preventing it. That is our legal system, and that is the way that it rolls. So, yeah. That's built into our system, victimhood. You can't get rid of that. So you have to use that victimhood legal system to try and even out the injustices. And there's nothing wrong with that. You shouldn't be shaming people. You should be encouraging people to do that, because then it makes it a more fair and just system if people know what's going on. Look at those birds. I don't know if you can see them. They're all heading to that pond we've just gone by. It's a train. Yeah, people shouldn't be afraid of going to these, like, discussing their legal issues. I absolutely encourage it, and this is why I'm doing these court cases for very, very little money. All I ask for is they pay me for their letters for 150 quid, which I will get back to them, because I will be able to get them, thousands of pounds in compensation. So it's not actually it's not a big price for them to pay. And this woman, she's already been offered £150 in compensation, which is pathetic. I'm trying to get tens of thousands of pounds for her. But I do think that I'm going to sit down here. I do see that things are going very badly for the British people right now. Right, sweetheart, do you want some water? Come here. I'll just... Come on. Baby, come on. There you go. Have some more water. There you go, sweetheart. Oh, good boy. I do feel that I'm feeling that we are being discouraged by alternative media to fight our own legal actions. And then when they do put them up to show that they are, there was that King guy, was there, round about lock time, who went to Alex Jones. When I went to him, I went to David Icke, I went to UK Column. I noticed that UK Column, they talked about that woman, that black woman, the trafficked woman who had her child taken from her by the authorities. Well, come here. There's a runner. Right, leave. That's it. Leave. Yeah. Come on. Yeah, there was an interview with a trafficked woman who had her child taken away from the authorities, by the authorities, and I guess the UK Column felt that was a more important story to tell. Not that it's unimportant, it's not at all. But of course, they've, from what I know, never spoken to a grooming gang victim. They always take a side during these wars. And of course they do show themselves, I think, to be these politically correct followers. They did all this stuff on amazing women, or whatever it was, brave women. Now, I know people who have gone to the UK column and have been ignored, and they are I don't know what their story was. I got to say, I keep my story to my chest these days when I meet people, and I'm very nervous about releasing my name surrounding it, but that's kind of where we're at, isn't it? So yeah, they are this politically correct group, I would say, and I'm not opposed to equal rights, and I don't want to be in a situation where I'm not allowed to drive because I'm a woman and all these sorts of things. I need to be taken care of because I'm a pathetic woman. I wouldn't be interested in that kind of thing. But I don't support feminism as it is now today. And I do question how it arose and whether actually it was necessary in the first place, and whether people were conned about certain aspects of the feminism thing. Have you found something? One of my experiences, which I should talk about, and why I'm a little bit concerned about, different races and all of that, is because where I've lived is very much poor areas, and you find that in the poor areas there are a lot of immigrants. And I had become very good friends with these people, and I trusted them. And I trusted them to a point where I actually thought that I could turn to them and tell them about what had happened to me, and they would be empathetic and things like that. Well, what I've discovered was that they called me a racist, they called me a Nazi. One of them, she was sort of mixed Asian black. She told me that I enjoyed being raped because I talked about it. I told her about it, and then she said, well, you enjoyed being raped because of it, which I found was a really sort of perverse thing to say. One of my friends, he was Indian, or he is Indian. I don't know whether he's taken the juices and died, but he kept telling me how everyone was kind of, racist in this country. His mum had arrived here, and she'd faced racism. She didn't speak English. His dad had left her. She'd faced racism, and she wasn't going back home because she had a home here. But everyone was racist. So I had years and years of that, and I was empathetic towards him because I thought, well, I don't know fully what his experiences are. I don't want him to think that I'm racist. That really bothered me. But I did tell him in the end what had happened to me, and I didn't hear of him ever again. And I've got one friend left, and he too is Asian, and I haven't told him about anything that's gone on. I did my law degree with him, and he's a lovely man, and I really like him, but I now consider him more as an acquaintance than a friend, because I would never tell him about what happened, and that's just because I've been treated so nastily when I've confided in people who I thought I cared about and trusted. I really put a lot of trust in them, and they were really horrible to me. So I've lost a lot of friends. Where I am now, it's more white in the area that I live now, and they are often referred to by the middle class toffs of the left and right as being fascist racists and stuff. I guess it's been easier, or it would be easier to talk to them about it. I haven't done, but it is easier to talk about disability and things like that. I'd like to find people to fight cases, to bring new arguments onto the scene within the legal system, and I think that's what's being prevented. So this man is my friend, or acquaintance now, I guess. He'd be good at these arguments. He hates political correctness. He got a bit full on with the COVID stuff, and he is constantly getting these injections and stuff. He lost a lot of weight suddenly and almost died, and I was so worried that he was going to die. I didn't want him to. It's like my sister, she died before she even hit 50, and she'd had the juice. I wasn't even allowed to see her because she was in a country where they were saying that they wouldn't allow unvaccinated people to go and see him, and I was not willing to get a vaccine. And she was fair on that. She felt betrayed by a lot of people because people distance themselves when you get ill, and I know about that. And when you talk about being politically correct rate, they don't want to hear about it. But I did say to her, I'm not willing to take those sorts of injections, and she was okay with that. I mean, she kept telling people that she didn't want to take chemotherapy because it was making her so ill. It was making her terribly, terribly ill. But I think she did it because I think she did it to please them, really. Come here. Good boy. And I think that's what chemotherapy is. I think the families see these people suffering with cancer and they get scared. They don't want to see their child or loved one going through all this pain and agony, so they say take the chemo, even though the chemo is causing all this sort of sickness and health issue. No, leave it. That's it, good boy. I think there's a sort of I think that people feel like they have to do it, to take the poison to please these people. I mean, we've just seen it through all this vaccine stuff, so we know that that's the case. People take these poisons to appease other people, and that's exactly what chemotherapy, that's what my observation was with my sister and chemotherapy. It was causing her so much illness, she was saying it, and yet everyone wanted her to do it. So she did it in the end, and she died. Of course she did. Anyway, I do look at this sort of situation in this way, that you know, I have taken a different view of the medical system and all that sort of stuff, but I don't really know what I was talking about there. I think you're going to have to fight it through the courts. I think that's the only way to deal with the situation that's coming. And you will have to take a victim mentality. You will have to say, you know, I'm a Christian and your pagan beliefs of net zero do not fit with mine. You are imposing them on me, which means that you are a victim of their suppression, if you will. You're going to have to take that mentality. Bloody hell. These alt media people, just be careful, will you? Be really careful. Think about what it is that they're saying and consider how that might affect you negatively. If I think of anything else, I'll let you know. This is it for now, but I am worried. I'm very worried. Right, please like, subscribe, and also share. Thank you. Bye.